back to the Track Limits podcast presented by Formula Addict. I'm your host, Swish, with my co-host, Henny.
Hello.
How you feeling, Henny?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
We have a big guest.
Big guest.
I'm very excited.
I don't even know if I have to give an introduction.
Everyone knows her.
Everyone knows her. And if you don't know her, you are living under a rock, honestly. This is an individual who has been a British television presenter for quite a long time now. She's also, by the way, an incredible reporter for Formula One on Sky F1. She's also the first woman to ever commentate on a British television show regarding Formula One in 2021. Please welcome Natalie.
Woo!
Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Hi.
How are you?
Very well indeed. All the better for seeing you guys.
Yeah.
How's the jet lag?
We're 2 weeks in now. I think we have sort of adjusted, even though we both work in Eastern time.
Yeah.
So we're like staying up until midnight.
Because it's not a full-time job. So we're like still
Right.
working.
Yeah.
And then American football playoffs.
Playoffs is on.
Keeping us
Yeah.
up till 2, 3 a.m.
Can't miss that.
But it's fine. It's been good.
Can't
We're
complain.
very excited about this interview.
Yeah.
No.
Seriously.
And I don't think you remember this, but maybe you do.
Oh.
We met each other at the Vegas Grand Prix.
Yikes.
I wasn't in a casino, was I?
No. It was the opening ceremonies and Paddock Club. You were coming out
Oh,
into the
yes,
balcony.
okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
I commented.
I commented.
I commented on how great you were on the Pit Stop podcast. I mean, I don't think you remember that.
Thanks,
Clearly
guys.
not.
Thanks.
No. But thank you for coming on. We're
Thank
very
you for
excited.
inviting
You
me.
have an illustrious career, and I think we're very excited to unpack it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of going into Q1,
Yep.
everything related to racing. What is a day in the life of Natalie Pinkham
Oh
right
my God. Well, I tell you something.
Yeah.
There isn't a sort of formula to it. Every day is different. And that's really why I love my job
Yep.
and my life, because I just love the unknowns. It does also keep me awake at night because I'll wake at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, okay, well, first of all, what day is it? Second of all, where am I? Oh, no, home. That's good. That's a good start because you could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like when you travel a lot?
Yeah.
Where am I again?
Yeah.
Who am I? And,
What am I?
Yeah. And then I love thinking through my day, my week, my year. We're good planners in our family. So my husband and I sit down in January and we plan our whole year.
Wow.
I mean, he's already booked Christmas for this year, but he's very organised, and I need that, and I like it, and I like to plan, and I think it's useful when you do something like Formula One because it's just busy. It's just busy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always think about the year like a big clock face, and like January, February, March, April, and then I punctuate that clock face with sporting events, and it will be the calendar for Formula One.
Yep.
So of course it's thrown me into complete disarray that Japan's moved. I'm like, what do you mean Japan is one of the first races? I've always got that in my head as being like October time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And the clock gets bigger too.
the clock
Yeah.
does
One
bulge
more race.
sometimes.
More races,
more
a lot more events to go to.
Pack it all in.
Yep.
But
Wow.
it's good. That's what life's about.
Yeah. And what's your cap for races for F1?
What's my
Your cap. What?
Yeah.
How
I
many
mean, I'm not
races?
sure I have any say in the cap for Formula One races. I think Sky are really aware of and sensitive to the fact I'm a working mum.
Yeah. That's amazing.
My boss, Billy, has 2 kids very similar age to mine.
Yeah.
And he knows the pressures. And he knows actually the older your kids get, they kind of need you more, not less.
Yeah.
You kind of think as babies, they're going to need you all the time. But actually, they kind of get passed around as long as someone feeds them.
Yeah.
They're not that bothered. When they get to like 6, 7, 8, they really want you to be at their sports fixtures, helping them with their homework, all the things that you should be there as a mum to do. So Sky kind of limit it to about half.
Right.
So I'm going to be doing 12 this year.
Yeah.
8 anchoring and then 4 as the sort of sidekick reporter. And that's a lovely balance for me.
Yeah.
And I try to involve the kids in as many of those as I can as well.
Yeah.
You guys
So-
plan a trip around it?
Yeah, we do. So if it coincides with school holidays, I'll take them with me.
Oh.
Funnily enough, they always want to go to Monaco, not so much Spa. Yeah.
That makes sense.
We've heard it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. My husband's like talking about Miami already. I'm like, hang on a minute.
How has the sport of F1 evolved since you've started reporting?
Wow. I mean, it's come such a long way.
Yeah.
I always feel so proud of the sport for being cutting edge in terms of technology, in terms of innovation and ideas. And I think it never sits still.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. Keeps you on your toes personally. And it's changed a huge amount. I suppose the one standout change for me has been the amount of women and the amount of diversity within the sport now.
100%.
Because I remember walking down the paddock, kind of looking around thinking, where are all the girls?
Yeah.
Where are the women?
Yeah.
And it's definitely getting better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, we've got Lewis Hamilton to thank for so much of that in terms of diversity and inclusion.
Yep.
And it's so important because we have to represent our fan
Audience.
base,
Yeah.
our audience. You know, they're out there watching it. If they don't feel represented on screen,
Yeah.
or indeed anywhere in and out of the paddock, then we're not doing a good enough job. So we've still got a way to go, but we're definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right.
We had Callum on last season, and
Yeah.
he was like thankful to Lewis as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for
And the
pioneering that
commission, yeah.
work, the Hamilton Commission, the report that came out kind of set a really cool conversation around diversity. When it comes to preparing for a season, like, do you prepare during the off season? Are you preparing each race weekend individually? Like, how does one prepare for the chaos that is a race weekend?
I think actually, whilst it may feel somewhat chaotic, there is a formula to every weekend. And once you kind of get into a rhythm with that, you kind of relax into it and enjoy it for what it is. But I don't think preparation is even a word I would use. I think it's sort of that the passion for the sport is infused. Like everybody feels it, right? Yeah. And so it doesn't feel like work. You just naturally want to keep up with what's going on. So like today, I'm training for the marathon, just wanted to add that. So as I was training today, badly, by the way, I will always listen to a podcast. And I just love actually delving. And this off season gives you the chance to really dig deep and go for podcasts that you might not have the time to listen to during the season. And so you're always learning. I mean, every single day you learn something new. Yeah. And I've worked in the sport 12 years now, and I still feel a bit of a fraud that I don't know nearly enough.
Oh, hey.
You do? No, but truly.
Yeah. Natalie, if you don't know enough, we
we're done. This podcast does not deserve to be on.
No. Well, I mean, that's part of the reason it's such a beautiful sport, isn't it? Is that for every bit you know, there's five more things to know.
Exactly.
And it's just, it's fascinating.
Wow. And what's the biggest challenge being a broadcaster that you face?
I think it is the fact that we're all works in progress, and actually you're never the finished article, and always just being aware of that.
Yep.
Being prepared to learn off those, not just older with more experience, but actually younger with fresher ideas that come at it from a new perspective. So I love all the young new fans that are coming through, and you've got to listen to them because they're seeing it through very different eyes.
Yep.
Sometimes, I talked about it being formulaic. Actually, why not disrupt that slightly? Why not make it, just because we've always done it that way? We don't have to always do it that way.
Yeah. Right.
So listen to the fans. But that doesn't feel like a challenge in an arduous sense. It actually feels like an exciting opportunity.
Yep.
So I enjoy it. I love it.
That's brilliant. And when it comes to staying objective, I'm curious how any reporter or journalist does this. Like, how do you disassociate your personal beliefs, or what do you think?
I think it's twofold. I think one is that I'm certainly not paid to have an opinion. Right. I mean, I've never sat in a Formula One car. I can't really give a view on it. That's what the pundits are for. Martin Brundle, Damon Hill, Jenson Button, Nico Rosberg, they've all been there and done it. And they absolutely have the right to an opinion. I don't. I feel myself like a conduit for the fans. So I'm hopefully asking the questions that you watching at home want answered. In terms of objectivity when it comes to drivers, inevitably you feel quite invested in those drivers. You feel like they're your friends and you want them to do well. I mean, there isn't a single person on the grid that I don't want to succeed. Now, obviously, they can't all get in the points. They can't all get on the podium. They can't all win the race. But I think when you've been on the road and you've watched their careers grow over a number of years, you realise how much they've invested, how much they've sacrificed, which is why Drive to Survive has been so brilliant, because they're able to show you that side of Formula One, and they're doing it now with rugby. I don't know if you guys are... Oh, Canada's quite a good rugby nation, isn't it?
Pretty good, yeah. We're up there. We're not like New Zealand.
No.
No. I don't think any of us are.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
But, we're from quite a big rugby family, and I love seeing what they've done with Full Contact, because I think so much is assumed. And actually, when you turn the TV on for 80 minutes for a rugby match or a couple of hours for a Formula One race, you're just going purely on performance. But what you're not doing is appreciating the backstory to that performance, the sacrifice, the human trauma that has taken them to get to the point of representing their country or working incredibly hard to achieve at that level. You all know that kind of level of performance and sort of gritty tenacity comes when your back's against the wall. So many of them do have a big story behind it. And I think that's so important. And so it's really difficult. I mean, I remember interviewing Danny Kvyat, and he'd just become a dad. And I was just like, you've just become a dad. And I was like, okay, chill out. I had to have a word with myself. But in that moment, that's what mattered. That was the human moment. And I think it's quite important for us to portray that, actually. Because I think as fans, we want to know what makes that person tick. Yeah. And if you can understand something human about them, you know, whether they've become a dad or, you know, what they've gone through to get there, you understand the performance that much more.
And I think you also make your guests very comfortable too, right? Like I think this might have been during quarantine. There was like a video interview you did with George, Alex, and Charles. And it was a riot. And like they were so comfortable.
Was it the
themselves. I think it was like a quiz.
The Twitch, quartet. Twitch quartet.
Yeah. Charles was terrible at it,
but also I think that you're so right, because that gave a level of insight into their personalities that we all in that moment, because COVID was such a leveler, and it left us all feeling exposed and vulnerable. Whether you were, you know, a student, you worked at whatever you did, a school kid, or you driving an F1 car, we all felt like we needed each other, right? Yeah. And yet we couldn't be together. And suddenly you had these 4 racers together as much as they could be, laughing and like feeding off each other's energy. It was so important, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I miss those times. But in terms
of quarantine,
you miss COVID.
Whoa.
Wait. In a way, like for us, I can tell you,
true.
We were working, but at the same time, it's like we would at like 8 p.m., 10 p.m. we would go and play video games together.
Yeah.
Stuff that
That's
we wouldn't
fair.
be doing if COVID didn't happen.
Yeah.
So there was moments of it that I did enjoy.
Yeah.
That
it
does
definitely
not
brought
now.
the world closer. And actually, one
In
of
a
the
way,
things,
yeah.
that question of like, how are you doing, was like not weird to ask people anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like you could go back to someone you hadn't talked to in 4 years and be like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And it was a totally fine question.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know, I sometimes find, like, I agree with you, like when you're not in those sort of situations, you don't even think about it.
The world is just moving too fast.
Yeah. And also we were tested in a way that we'd never been before. And actually, it was interesting because they let us do the gaming, like the virtual racing. And it was one of the few things that was allowed to be broadcast. So I went into a studio and I found it so weird.
Yeah. Like
and
it
my
goes
husband
down.
was like, I'm so jealous. You got to do something. Go out the house. But I would go like in a designated car, all masked up. And it was like, London was a ghost town. And we go to a studio and it was just eerie. But it was beautiful how we were all connected through gaming. It was brilliant. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. It's a thing of the past.
That was enough trauma that we all faced. But in terms of rumors, I know we consume a lot of this content and we're not broadcasting. We don't have a network of any sorts. But how do you, as a journalist, keep up with rumors and stay on top of all of that?
I'm always really sort of reluctant to get pulled into rumors as such, because I think some rumors can be quite damaging to people. And you have to be able to separate the truth from the BS, because trust me, there is a lot. And you know what social media is like, right? So someone can just say one flippant comment and suddenly get some kind of traction, and then before you know it's blown up. And
wasn't Alonso and Taylor Swift dating it?
One moment.
I mean, I thought that was very smart from him. Listen, my kids were talking about Fernando Alonso for the first time, like, guys, I have been working with this dude for the last 12 years. You don't care, but Taylor Swift comes on the scene.
And it's all
great. Mummy was like, but Taylor Swift's cool. Thanks, 6-year-old daughter.
351 million is what she's contributed to the NFL now. That is the Taylor effect. I know. Yeah.
And I just love it.
And me too.
I just love it.
Oh yeah. That's like their Drive to Survive moment. I kid you not. It is
actually
the amount of new NFL fans that have come in now.
So come on, Fernando, get her back into F1.
Let's get her.
Come on, break up that love story.
Liberty Media is like, please. Please do it.
Can you imagine if she rocked up in the paddock?
Oh man.
Just sashay down the
There
paddock.
was a rumor she'd do it in Vegas. but then I think she had a concert and she wasn't able to
that
make
would've
it.
been
That would have
crazy.
blown the internet apart.
Wow.
The final question of Q1, and I'm curious when it comes to kind of where the sport is going, are you happy with that direction? Is there stuff that you would like to see that you are excited about? Maybe even grassroots projects that you want to spotlight more? Like, where do you feel about the direction that F1 is going in the coming years?
It's a great question. And I think that we touched on it earlier, and I do love the progressive nature of Formula One. I do love the fact that Stefano and all his team are really open to ideas. Like, it's the old adage, no idea is a bad idea. If you throw it out there and you can back it up. And that's the essence for real meritocracy, as well as that if you're prepared to work hard and go for it and you come up with great ideas, they can get implemented. And it's great to see, because suddenly you feel really invested, you feel really part of a process. And I think F1 is brilliant for that. I also think it's amazing at sort of collaborating, coming together and making a difference. I suppose the big challenges for the sport are making it I always go net zero or net zero carbon, or zero net carbon.
Net zero.
Net zero,
Yeah.
net zero carbon by 2030. And that's not only a challenge, but it's an opportunity. And I think what Formula One's been brilliant at is pioneering technologies to achieve those things. And so that's exciting. And I think Sky are wholeheartedly on board with that. And actually, as a broadcaster, we've always really led the way in this space. It's always been something sort of held very close to everyone's hearts at Sky. Like, we want to be part of this change. It has to happen. Yeah. It's not. So I love seeing all those initiatives. I suppose the big challenge, though, is how you do that when you're jumping from city to city around the world. Inevitably, there's a massive carbon footprint, and you're taking flights. It's hard. But what I'm really encouraged by are the efforts made by Formula One and Sky to lessen those. Like, it's always at the front of our minds. We're always discussing how we can achieve that on a micro and macro level. In terms of other changes within the sport, I think there's people a lot smarter than I am that are banging the drum for things that I'm passionate about. So I kind of jump on those coattails and say, I agree. But, diversity and inclusion still has to keep happening. We have to keep pushing forward with this. I'm not saying don't get the right person the job, but just open up the opportunities so more people from different backgrounds can come forward and
widen the pool.
100%. I mean, actually, if we really are a meritocracy and we really do want to be the best of the best, then you've got to widen the pool, because otherwise you're missing out on a lot of talent. So I really want to see more women coming into the sport, not just driving, but all the way through the sport. I mean, we've had a couple of outliers in Manisha Kaltenborn and obviously Claire Williams leading teams. But then who's following up to take over those reins, to take over that baton? Yeah. We need to be nurturing more female talent to run teams and obviously to drive. And, you can see Formula One's commitment to that. So I think it will happen. It's great that it is on the schedule. The F1 Academy is on the same calendar as the F1 races. And more visibility that we can give it, and the more we can talk about it on podcasts like this, the better. Because I want girls to grow up knowing they've got opportunities in Formula One. Because I felt like when I came in, it's almost a bit of a fluke. It was like, oh, there's a role going at 5 Live, BBC 5 Live radio. Do you want to give it a go? And I was kind of sure. And I didn't put too much on it in my own mind. I didn't want to leave myself disappointed not to get it. But I didn't put the pressure on myself. And then when I got it, I had the space, I was kind of under the radar to grow into the role. Right. And then the rest kind of came from there. But I think that, we have to be really proactive in going out and recruiting bright young sparks, male, female, any sexual orientation, skin colour, background, whatever. If they love Formula One, they've got a place at the table. And if they're prepared to work hard for it, because I think that's the biggest thing is work ethic and passion. They're the two keys.
That's a purple.
That is a purple. Wow. That answer enough.
I think Natalie is very much through to Q2.
Yes.
So well done, Natalie.
A purple sector. You made it.
Hallelujah. What a relief.
I know, right?
Can you imagine we just end the pod here?
Yeah, it's like, it's done. We can walk out.
By the way, I forgot to say at the start of the pod, something really interesting happened today. Okay, so it's good and bad. The good news is that I have to thank you because my charity rang me today to say that they'd had a donation, Hope and Homes for Children, from you guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Funny
So
enough.
that is gorgeous. The bad news is it said in memory of Natalie Pinkham.
Oh,
About that was supposed to be a funny thing. We were all sitting there yesterday and we're like,
So basically,
there's an
hang on a minute, you killed me off. You have killed me off.
I was the one who did it. So funny enough, I was like, you know what? This might be taken out of context, but I was like, we are doing in memory. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it. I was going to say.
So do you know how the conversation with my charity started? Pinks, are you okay?
Oh my
Pinks,
God.
please reply. And I went, yeah, what's going on? Well, we thought you were okay, but then we got a panic because we just had this donation. It says in memory of Natalie Pinkham. I went, oh my God, that.
we can't even do a charitable donation properly.
We'll never do it ever again. Oh my God.
No, do the donation, but maybe you don't kill me off the process.
No.
Nice.
You know what? We learned our lesson.
But thank you very much.
Oh,
That's
no
very
worries.
sweet because it, you know, it's a very small charity that punches above its weight.
Yeah.
Does great things, and thanks to donations from people like you.
We
makes
were
all the
looking
difference.
more at what they do, and there's an organization even in Canada called Covenant House.
Yeah,
very
that's
similar.
very similar.
Okay.
But I love these sort of like grassroots projects. 'Cause they have noble causes, and I actually like the fact they start small and kind of even stay a bit small.
Yeah, yeah.
because
More focused,
they
yeah.
continue to stay focused on
Yeah.
their mission and don't get distracted by
Everything
too much,
else.
you know, in terms of corporate influences and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
and also the noise around it, and you know that
Yeah.
not a huge amount of your donation will get swallowed up by an admin fee. For anyone who doesn't know, what Hope and Homes do is that they work very hard to keep children out of orphanages and still with their families because of the 5.4 million children around the world
Yeah.
who are in institutions and orphanages. 80% of them have a living parent. And they should be with that living parent. Where possible, where there isn't domestic abuse, they should be with that parent. And the problem is that so many of these institutions are exploitative, they're corrupt, there's a lot of abuse going on in them, they monetize the children. And actually I learned the hard way in a way over a long period of time because I went out as a very well-meaning student as a teenager to go and work in an orphanage. And I was like, actually, what was I doing? I was satisfying my own curiosity because we had a huge campaign over here. You guys won't know, there's a TV show called Blue Peter.
No way.
And they talked about raising money for the Romanian orphanages. Well, growing up watching this and donating to it with all our school fetes and stuff like that, I was like, what is it? What is it? And so when I was a teenager, when I was old enough at uni, I was like, well, I'm going to go and visit one and I'm going to go and work in it. And surely I'll be doing good. But actually, no, because the time came when I had to leave again. And what I was doing was I was showing love for children and then taking it away again.
Right.
And layering up their trauma
Yeah.
and actually propping up often corrupt institutions. Because children have been separated by their parents through poverty, war. They're being told, oh, you can't look after all these kids. The state will take them.
Yeah.
That's never the answer for a child. They want to be with family.
Yeah.
You just want to be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys they're wicked. I just love them. They're brilliant. So thank
amazing.
you.
No
Oh, no
worries.
worries.
We'll definitely, by the way, throw in our description a link to them
Yes.
so you can go
Oh.
and check them out as well.
Thank you.
But yes, sorry about that.
About that.
Do not, when you make a donation
You
to
know
them,
what
we
put
talked
in
about-
memory
Yeah.
of.
You know what we talked about? Rumours starting on social media.
This is how it starts.
Natalie is dead.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, they
Don't.
put up a public statement
Yeah.
like this morning. Oh my Lord. Yikes.
All right, well, purple, maybe not purple for us,
Yeah,
but
no.
purple for Natalie.
Oh.
She's through to Q2. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. We, over the break, have learned a little bit about the meaning of in the memory of.
Yes.
So we are definitely
We've been educated.
about that. Henny, anything to say to the audience?
I've learned my lesson.
I've learned.
I apologize to everybody.
But anyways, Natalie, you're through to Q2.
I'm still alive.
You're still alive.
Just made it.
Knock on wood. Where's
Yeah.
the wood?
Knock.
Jeez. In
That's not
Q2,
wood.
yeah. In Q2, we want to take you back.
Okay.
And I
wow.
think we want
Okay, not
to
too back.
No,
Come on
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
take you back, take you back in
yeah.
general. It could be 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But as a kid,
Yeah.
when you were growing up,
Yeah.
Was motorsport a big part of your family? Was it something that came on TV a lot, or was it something you kind of fell into later in life?
Good question. Sport has basically been our lives, all sports, not just Formula One. I grew up very close to Silverstone, so my earliest memories of Formula One were going to Silverstone. I remember just like walking and like, this is wild. And the noise and the sound, the energy was just incredible. Yeah. And my brother has always really been into it. And as a kid, you always kind of want to impress your big brother. And he used to take cars apart and put them back together again. And I used to like watch on and pretend I knew what he was doing. Yeah. So yes, Formula One was always appointment to view television in our house. That, and we used to have 2 shows here called Ski Sunday and Rugby Special. So the 3 of them, and we used to just sit and we were glued to sport. Yeah. It was just, it's just part of the, I mean, I feel like it's, well, I'm sure it's the same in Canada as well, but I feel like it's a big part of British culture. Yeah. And I suppose perhaps when I was a kid, less so for girls, but because my mum and dad loved it, it was never a question. We just all did it. Yeah. I also used to run everywhere without shoes on because there was a woman called Zola Budd who didn't run with shoes, and she was my hero growing up.
So maybe the marathon without shoes.
Oh my God.
You can make a record out of that.
That'd be incredible.
Has anyone done that before?
I don't know.
Just run without shoes.
Yeah. Full marathon.
That go viral.
I mean, you've tried to kill me off once already.
Trying to do it again.
You're going to basically do it again on April the 21st. If I try and do it without shoes, I'm finding this training hard enough as it is. Trust me.
April comes around, I'm going to be like, just looking at her feet. She got her shoes on.
And you're a hockey fan too.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So but not your kind of hockey.
Oh, field hockey.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Broken ice.
So we don't really have ice hockey. Yeah. Well, we do, but not to the same extent. But field hockey, yes, because my late wonderful grandpa played hockey for England. He was also a scratch golfer. So, and when I picked up a hockey stick, I just... loved it. But I got a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
It's quite accident prone.
Especially your back too, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was talking more my face, actually.
Oh, no.
Broke my nose, cut my eye, lost a tooth.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I used to just make up what I lacked in talent with tenacity. Just fly in there. Like,
that's my motto in life, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't got it? Just try hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, brilliant sport. Brilliant sport.
Man. And were you ever interested in becoming a race driver? Is that?
Oh wow! I mean, you should probably see my driving before you ask that question. I think that answers it for itself. I am little lead foot, but pretty reckless. I mean, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
I remember doing a karting.
A driver has that.
Well, that's
you got
true.
to be reckless.
That's true. I had a karting fundraiser for Hope and Homes for Children, and this is years ago. This is like 12 years ago or something. And funnily enough, Nick de Vries was a very young karter at the time. And I remember Sam Michael, who worked for McLaren at the time, saying, look, I'm going to bring this new hotshot on. He's going to be a big deal, you know. And I was like, sure. And I mean, honestly, I took him out and it was bad.
Hey, he didn't leave you space, right?
Yeah.
And he's never let me forget it. Like literally everyone's like that, stay away. She is a loose cannon in every sense. So no, in short answer, no. I don't think I could ever have been a racing driver.
I think we got to do another karting series.
A karting series?
Yeah, for charity.
That'd be cool. Oh, that would be great.
That
idea.
would be great, yes.
Bring a lot of creators and
put everyone together.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right. And then Natalie, when it comes to your career in terms of advice that you've been given, I'm curious, actually both ways.
Yeah.
What was maybe the most defining piece of advice you got for your career? Like one of them. And equally, what was the worst advice you ever got?
I mean, I don't know. I just think that I don't think any advice, particularly if it's well-intentioned, can be bad.
Agree. Yeah.
I think, you can decide what works for you in terms of how much you take it and go with it. But I think you just need to kind of gather along the way, a bit of a snowball effect, and do what does come naturally to you, but taking on board what people say. I remember chatting to Mark Webber before I got the 5 Live job, because I knew him because I had hosted this thing for Channel 4, which was like an outdoor sports thing, and he was on it. It was his thing. It was the Mark Webber Challenge around Tasmania.
Tanzania? Oh no, Tasmania.
Tasmania.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. You were making me think.
Yeah.
That's a whole other place.
Don't listen to us.
And I rang him and Anne afterwards, and I said, like months later, and I said, I've been offered this job, and he was like, get your elbows out, Pinks. Just get your elbows out. Just get in there and just assert yourself. Just go on. Just like. And I remember getting there to the first race and like seeing Mark like right over there in the middle of it, and he goes, "Are you looking to talk to me, Pinks?" I was like, yes. I was just too shy, and I think you just got to be tough. And I think my one regret, if I have any, is not backing myself enough, like in the early stages. Like I just, even now we all have little crises of confidence, and sometimes I think, just don't waste time, just go for it. If you want to do something enough, just go for it. Be passionate, determined, because that actually takes you a long way. Like, other people buy into your confidence. If you project that, it's amazing how far it can take you. That's what I say to a lot of young girls will message me going, "What shall I do?" And I said, just back yourself. I spoke to a young girl the other day who was like, "Well, maybe I shouldn't," because I said, listen, if you're doubting yourself, or if you're projecting doubt onto me in this moment, you're going to do that with everyone you interact with. But actually just go into it with confidence and belief, and hard work and a smile, and you'll get a long way.
Yeah. Oh, that's powerful. Has there been a moment though for you where you're like, damn, I failed? Like an incident where you're like, oh, I screwed up?
I mean, this week or last week, or of course.
And how do you
But that's how you learn, right?
yeah.
You're just always learning. Yeah, of course. And it's a bit like when you hit a tennis ball in the sweet spot, when you've nailed it in your heart and mind. Equally, if you kind of hit the rim of the racket,
You're like, damn.
and it does bug you. But again, I think it's about projection. I remember saying to another young female who'd done a couple of bits on telly, and after she'd come off air, I said, "Oh, how did it go?" And she went, "Well, I don't know. It wasn't." I said, "No, just stop. How did it go?"
Restart it.
Great. Just say great. And if maybe there might have been, look, you are going to be a perfectionist in your own mind, and you should be, because you want to be the best at whatever you do, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're telling the person that cares, actually, it wasn't great, I go away with a slightly dimmed view of you as a presenter. And then someone goes, "Are they good?" "Well, I don't know if they back themselves. I'm not sure." In my mind, if you come off after this podcast and go, "That was a great podcast," I go, "Yes, it was a great podcast." God damn it. I mean, you tried to kill me, but it was still a good podcast. But we feed off each other's positive energy, right?
Yeah, of course.
And everyone makes little mistakes, but no one cares, because that's what makes you human.
And listen, you can get payback on the karting.
I
Gotcha.
And I mean, I think final question related to mentality. There are obviously those days where you don't want to get out of bed, and there are those days where things are super tough. Whether it's a support system, whether it's maybe this internal mentality that you built up over time, what do you go back to? Like, what do you rely on to get through those tough periods, professionally or personally?
So, do you know, honestly, I hadn't really considered mental health as, well, like, I mean, I hadn't explored it. I hadn't considered it until I lost one of my best friends to suicide. So Caroline Flack, who you guys won't know, but she was a big star over here. She hosted Love Island, and she won Strictly Come Dancing. She was just this effervescent, incredible ball of energy, but she was riddled with insecurities and doubt. But then a series of horrible things happened to her that, honestly, I still contend that any one thing hadn't happened, she'd still be alive today. But it was a sequence of events. And I hate the term perfect storm, but that's exactly what it was. It was this perfect storm of horrendous events. And what it did, and what it's done for me over the last couple of years, because she died just before we went into lockdown. So it forced all of us as her mates to really take a look at ourselves and consider friendship and consider mental health. And the one positive of all of this has been the energy that we've thrown into mental health for ourselves and for others. And so we've set up this music festival, which if you're back in the UK, please come to. It's in the summer. The Formula One world has been incredibly supportive. Mercedes gave me my first big check to get it going, which were amazing because they really care. Like Toto, Lewis, George, they all like Lando's big into mental health. They all care about mental health. But it wasn't until I kind of went down this route and then started opening up and I was realizing, my God, this issue is vast. It is a pandemic. Yeah. And what I realized is that we were doing this festival once a year, which is this beautiful feel-good event of music and comedy. But actually, where was the thread running through the year connecting this event? We shouldn't be asking people to come out and talk about why they're struggling if we don't offer them a path to recovery. So in answer to your question, that in itself gets me out of any dark space. Because I often think about Caroline. I think, my God, what a horrendous, violent way to die. And then I go, okay, right. In a strange way, I have to respect her decision for doing it. I will always be angry about the events that built up to her making that decision, because as I say, they didn't need to happen. Yeah. And they shouldn't have happened. It's scandalous that they did. But what it's done is it's made me realize that, and I'm not just saying this because we all have lower moments than others, but I never don't want to get out of bed in the morning. Mm-hmm. I felt like that before anyway, but more so now than ever. I feel a duty of care to push forward with her legacy, which I want it to be a positive one. And having kids is the biggest motivator of them all. I'm so acutely aware of like nursing them through their development. Yeah. And, you know, life honestly is just full of opportunity. And I'm determined to create a positive legacy for her, to be much more aware of my friends' mental health than I was before, because I will always carry the guilt that I wasn't more aware of hers. And yeah, just start here and build outwards. Start here, build outwards, and hopefully in turn, you know, we'll heal each other and we'll get out of bed and attack the world in a really positive way.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, even with our friend group, like, it was wild when like you see one person come out and be vulnerable, how it can have a ripple effect in getting other people to feel confident. But it's also quite scary because, you know, even in 2021, I remember I came to Henny and I was like, man, I'm going through anxiety and I've never had that issue growing up. And he opened up to me about some of the stuff he was going through. And I had friends of mine that I would never have even considered they had this part of their life that they were dealing with start to open up to me. So that conversation that you're starting is incredible.
Yeah, but it's so important that you're having these conversations. It really, really is, particularly with young men. I mean, suicide rates in young men are just staggering, and it's heartbreaking, and it's just so needless. And it's, you know, it's the old adage that it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem, all of that. But for me, we have to do more than have the conversation, because we're raising awareness, all of us. Yeah. We're talking, we're starting to talk. Some men still aren't, some women still aren't. But beyond that, we have to do more. And I found this with someone else in the family, that they are asking for help. And I don't know what it's like in Canada, but it's really hard to get help here, really hard. And there's these waiting lists for therapists. There are, you know, backing up in A&E. And they don't know how to respond to them in A&E, and the police are called, and the police aren't. We're not trained for this. See, this is what I found after Flaxstock. Every time we did this music festival, I suddenly just got this huge flood of requests and asking for information. I was thinking, I'm not equipped or trained to deal with this. You need a professional. But if I don't respond to you, then I feel it weighs heavy on me that people coming up to me at the festival and bursting into tears. And I was like, oh my God, you know, we wanted to create a safe space to do that, which was great. But then what happened was I flew straight from the festival to Spa, and I really struggled. And for the first time I went, wow, this actually impacting my mental health now, because I couldn't sleep. So I was anchoring the show, and Sinead O'Connor had died, suspected suicide, I believe. And suddenly I realised it triggered a lot of emotion about Caroline for me. So I'd done Flaxstock. Within 2 days, I tried to like be with my family and reconnect and calm. And then I went straight to Spa. Thank God I had Naomi Schiff with me, because I just I just told her everything about how I was feeling, and I cried a lot. And she was like, look, it's okay. And she confided in me about stuff, and we just had this really healing conversation. And then I was able to sort of pull it together, and it was brilliant because Formula One gave me the focus that I needed for those couple of days. But I realised in that moment, we have to do more. Yeah. We can't just talk. Yeah. We have to plot that route to recovery for people.
Yeah. And it has to be easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Can be difficult.
It has to be easy.
Yeah.
Do you think how hard it is to be brave and say you're struggling, and then what? No one helps you? Yeah. It's so bad. Yeah. And you have to, like, in that moment, like when you're having a panic attack, you don't want to say, oh, well, you're going to see a therapist in 6 weeks.
What do I do in 6 weeks? Yeah.
Well, it can be catastrophic, you know? Exactly. So anyway, we're working on some really cool stuff at the moment, but I just feel it's waking me up at night for good reasons, because I'm excited about it and I really want to forge ahead in Caroline's memory, but I want to get it right because it's so important to get it right. But yeah, I think it's amazing that you were able to look after each other. Yeah. And if we can all look after, have a little cuddle, go on.
Wholesome moment.
You're all huggers. When I got right today, you love hugs. I was like, so my kind of people.
You might be Canadian.
Yeah. There you go. Well, my cousin is, I told you.
Yeah. See? Potentially from Toronto. Oh, no,
she is from Toronto. Let me see if she replied.
Toronto.
Let me see if she replied. What time is it in there?
4, so it's like
12?
11.
Oh, she replied. Yeah. Oh. Near Trinity Bellwoods.
Oh my God, that's so close to us.
Yeah. If they are cool, they'll understand the area.
Yeah.
Do they need to come over for a cup of sugar?
Oh, yes.
She's amazing. Naomi Snickers. You should check her out.
Yeah.
Keep knocking my mic. Sorry. So she does improv. She started at Second City. Yeah. She's really funny.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I felt very proud. Yeah. I was working on the tennis tour, and we went to Toronto to the ATP Masters.
Yep.
And I was like a runner, just making bad cups of tea for everyone. And she messaged me and she said, "Do you want to come and watch one of my shows with your producer, director, whoever?" But I was very junior, and I just said to them, my cousin's doing a show. Do you want to go? She's giving me some tickets. I didn't know what to expect. Anyway, they all pile in. She was brilliant. And of course, earned me major brownie points. I was like,
yeah.
That's my family.
It's all in the genes, baby.
No, we gotta take a class.
100%.
When we go back to Toronto, I actually have always wanted to try Second City.
Yeah. You've got to go. So I'll give you her number. Yeah.
100%.
She's wicked. She's just so funny.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And it was bad because I told you before we started recording, we lost our other auntie. There was a really, really sad time, but we just couldn't stop laughing because we just hadn't seen her for so long. It was just so gorgeous to be back together.
It's nice to have some people like that in life too, right?
Yeah.
Even like the most dim situations, they can just bring like a big smile and make something a little bit more celebratory.
Exactly.
Final question for Q2. Your hobbies outside of F1 reporting. Yeah. Is it running right now? Is there anything else that you're really captivated by?
I don't sound fetish, but I do love running. I've actually always loved running, Zolibud.
Okay, cool.
But whether I can actually run a marathon remains to be seen. I mean, I'd love a cheeky little 5K, but
26.2
5K.
Oh, sorry, the marathon.
What's a full marathon?
Oh,
42.
sorry.
42.
Yeah, it's 42K.
But I heard, honestly, after like the first 10, 15, it's really this.
Right.
It's just your mentality.
So can you help me with that?
You do it first, then help me.
No, I've actually really enjoyed the running side of things. It's a really cool way to like clear your mind as well. My husband trains every day, and he believes it's really important for his mental health. It sets him up really well for the day, and he works harder, and he's as a result he feels like clears his mind, and I really get what he means now. I've just been going for runs on my own, put the old put podcast on, whatever, and just go, and it is lovely. So that's been great. Outside of that, we're crazy about film. Like we watch we just pile into the films. It did take Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, Flower Moon, yeah. Leo and
it did take us 4 sittings to get through it.
Wow,
oh my God.
Because
dark matter.
Well, the problem is that we put the kids to bed, and you've probably got an hour's window, and you're like, and this is like 3.5 hours, but it's brilliant. So we just finished that last night. But no, we love film, we love music, live music. I mean, that's kind of why we're crazy about doing Flackstock, is that me and him love Glastonbury and all the festivals. So Yeah, but all sport. I mean, God, we're sport crazy enough.
Cricket, golf, everything.
Football, soccer.
Yeah, soccer.
Yeah.
That's a good impersonation.
We love a bit of footy. We love it.
I actually lied. I have one more question, and I kid you not. This is I don't know how, but on your Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, I know what you're going to say.
It says, to quote, you're an internationally renowned expert at recognizing slowed down audio recordings of people's voices.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Explain.
So I do a podcast with Damon Hill and Tom Clarkson called F1 Nation. And in the summer break, we did the silly quiz, right? And so the producer got a load of recordings of voices of Formula One drivers and slowed it right down. Now, I don't know why, but I was brilliant at it. Oh my God. And it's the only thing I can claim to be brilliant at in my life.
Like, how slowed are we talking? Like, it's just... Oh my God.
And I don't know why, but maybe because I spend my life listening to them and like analysing their face and voice and whatever. But I got all of these questions right. Damon did it, and he didn't even recognise his own voice. So some listener obviously just took that and put a silly thing. Wikipedia should not really be trusted.
Yeah. That's why we're like, no, we got to clear this out.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
true.
we were actually wondering, like, how slow? Because I'm like, can you imagine if it was like, hello? All right, well, Purple.
Man.
I mean, absolutely nailing it.
Yeah.
Natalie, you're through to Q3. Are you nervous going in or no?
This is it.
No,
Last
no,
sector.
not at all.
I thrive on the pressure.
I love it.
Bring
Let's
me
go.
the shootout, baby.
Let's get
Rapid fire round coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. Henny, we are getting into the rapid fire round. Our favorite.
Yes, it's my favorite at least.
I've got to confess, I did actually lie about something.
What did you lie about?
Well, I said that I wasn't nervous.
Let's go.
Well, we're going to do it regardless. Yeah. So here we go, Natalie.
Oh, God.
All
right. Do I have to be quick? I mean, I know you're going to be quick, but
we would love some story times if needed. Yeah. Warm up, stretch.
But it needs to be full of fire, these answers.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
First question.
Sorry, Henny, go ahead.
First question, which driver would you trust to drive you around the track blindfolded? They're blindfolded, you're in the back seat.
I don't know whether to say all or none. Because frankly, that sounds scary. But we actually played this game where we were playing them audio of the tracks. And it was quite amazing how many of them got the track right, because they just do have a photographic memory of it. And you've driven something that many times, I suppose you would. But so I'll say all.
All. Okay. The greatest driver of all time, in your opinion?
Ooh. Well, you know, I know whatever I say it's going to be controversial, but I just grew up with the romance of Senna. Like that, to me, that was my earliest memories of Formula One. Mm-hmm. And that lap of Monaco. And I mean, I was always taken back to that. And he just had this aura. I mean, I never met him. I got to know Bruno Senna, his nephew, pretty well. And he was lovely as well. He kind of seemed to embody a lot of his spirit. So yeah, let's go Senna.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. What's one piece of F1 memorabilia you currently own or would love to own?
Ooh. See, I do love a bit of memorabilia. I do.
This is a hard one.
Back on it, March.
This is really, Well, I'm working on some of your merch.
Yep.
I really want that hoodie.
You're going to get it.
Because I think
Take it off right now. Why did you give it?
Take it off right now. God damn it. It's the least you can do for killing me.
It's coming in the mail. I promise you it's coming in the mail.
No, I do. I love it. So we're going to go with that.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. All right. What are we looking at? Funniest thing that's ever happened to you during a race weekend?
That nobody knows about.
Oh, that no one knows about.
Oh, my
Ooh.
goodness.
Bonus points.
Yep.
God, we've had some funny moments. The problem is I get the giggles quite a lot. And you know when you just lose it?
Yeah.
And then you can't stop.
Yep.
And no matter what anyone says, you can't get out of that.
Fine.
You just get the giggles. I find that certain people give you the giggles, so, you know, and then that's it, you're off. But I'm trying to think funniest that you wouldn't know about, because a lot of the ones that you've seen, I remember doing this whole thing around Pirelli. We had these, like, when the tyres delaminated, and we did this whole thing about dating a tyre. It was so stupid. But see if you can find it, because it was actually really funny, because it was started as cutaways of myself and Simon Lazenby talking, going, look, it's not you, it's me. And you were thinking, where's this going? And then like it would pan back and there'd just be this tyre opposite you. And it was all about us breaking up with the tyre. It was so stupid. We laughed so much. Yeah. It took hours to film. And it wasn't even that funny at the end of it, but we thought we were hilarious. So yeah, there's been plenty of moments like that. I'm trying to think which aren't X-rated. When we were young and we didn't have kids and we used to just kind of go on this 9-month adventure around the world, we used to have some serious fun.
Oh,
yeah, I love it.
Damn.
I'll tell you those stories after a couple more drinks.
Yes. Oh my God. If you could have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh.
I'm going to go halloumi cheese.
Ooh.
What?
Justin got excited.
Yes. Look at them both.
Now, tell me something. Have you ever had it with honey and pomegranates?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
We're trying that.
Drizzle of honey and pomegranate, like sprinkled on it. Yeah. Another level.
Oh my Lord.
Tonight.
Yeah. We're trying tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Nando's. Yeah, we do have the Nando's. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, Natalie, we heard you like nonfiction. Have you seen a movie about the Uruguayan rugby team?
I have.
The Society of the Snow movie. Did that also ruin your ability to sleep?
As a staunch vegetarian, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I knew that story from a long time ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we actually we watched it the other night again because we knew the story. Yeah, because it was an original documentary like a really long time ago.
Yeah.
But we knew that story. And I was sort of saying to my husband, so what would you do? He goes, damn right.
Yeah.
I'd eat anyone to stay alive. Of course you would.
Yeah.
And he said, you wouldn't stand a chance. You're all sort of grizzly. He said, you'd be out. And we ended up having this like row. I said, well, your bum's quite juicy, so you'd go quite far. I'd deliberately take you out. He goes, you would have no chance of taking me out. We had this ridiculous row about who would be a better meal.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
You were like that. Oh no, you'd get stuck in people's teeth. You were like that. You're all grizzly. I'm like, charming.
Oh, yikes.
All right. Well, I'm not still sleeping.
Yeah, I know. We were traumatized after watching that movie.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
I know.
Oh my Lord.
I know, right?
Is it me?
Poses some interesting moral questions.
It does, though. It does.
Yeah.
Henny said he probably would just last a week, and he probably.
Yeah, I would. What did I say? I think the moment they got stuck. What was that moment? They got stuck right before the plane.
Underground.
Started.
Yeah,
the snow. I was like, kill me then.
Incredibly, that was so well shot. I mean,
Everything
that
from
was
the
like,
actors.
We were kind of like the crash scene. We were like,
wow.
Oh my
the detail.
God, that was astonishing.
Yeah.
And even like Henny said, the actors. I hadn't
Yes.
heard of a single one of them,
Yeah.
and they're
Phenomenal.
all
They
incredible.
all deserve
Absolutely.
Oscars at this point.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, next
But
question.
look, that's my point with non-fiction. There are so many incredible stories out there. Like, I don't think you need to go to fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we don't, who has time? But when there's stuff that's actually happened, we watched The Sound of Freedom as well the other night.
Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, I was crying within 30 seconds because you see all the actual footage of kids getting snatched. But then that guy, I know, no spoiler alerts, but you have to watch this because that guy is just a proper hero. And you can imagine, he's got his own family, he's got his own stuff going on. You could be selfish in that moment and he can't be on much cash.
No.
Like, so
That
this
world.
is all heart.
Yeah.
I mean, what a guy.
Yeah. Oh.
And actually, my husband started beating his chest. He's like, that's what I'm going to do with my life. That's what I'm going to do.
I feel like I watched too many aviation disaster movies, which is really bad because then we go on a plane the next
I know,
day.
I hate
Yeah, I
flying,
really
too.
wouldn't do that.
We almost died like 3 weeks ago, but anyway.
So you can't just casually throw that in.
Yeah,
Like, literally,
On-
I was
on a
on
plane.
we were on a flight. I was
Yeah.
near the front of the plane. I checked in early. He didn't.
I did. So I was stuck in the back and we caught the worst of it. It was we're entering like the airspace to land. And for some reason, we just lost altitude for like a good 4 to 5 seconds, like a full drop.
Like,
Yeah.
drop.
And then and you know how the flight attendants will come around picking up your garbage? Yeah. They were just doing that. And when I say like the whole cart just lifted and the woman just went that way, I was like, oh my God, we're dying.
And they were bracing for like an emergency landing.
They go on the.
Now here's the thing. Henny's in the back of the plane. You feel it way more.
Yeah.
I'm in the front with my AirPods listening to like California Love. I was like,
he's on
this
another
is fine.
world.
It's just turbulence. I didn't feel like it was that traumatic.
Yeah. And there's me, and there's like women all around her, like screaming, shouting.
I'm sure a few of the men were as well.
Oh yeah. I grabbed onto the next
terrified.
guy. I hate flying.
So interestingly, I've done obviously so many flights, coming back really late at night in strange conditions, whatever. And I remember sitting next to an aerodynamicist from Mercedes, and we had a bit of turbulence. And he said to me, "Look, don't be too worried about turbulence ever." Yeah. And he was explaining how planes work. But he was saying never ever take off if it's icy, ever, because if you get ice on the wing, and it's the ultimate, obviously Munich air disaster, but that was back in the 58, was it? But
50s, 60s.
But he said never take off in snow or frost, whatever. Yeah. But actually, if there's a bit of turbulence, you're okay. I'm like, okay.
Well, in Canada, we're kind of screwed. Yeah. We do get a lot of snow.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they have like a rule on de-icing now, which is nice.
They will spend they will leave you on the tarmac for like 3 hours if they have to de-ice.
Yeah.
You got no option.
And I'm like, do it.
There for a day.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
God, wow.
Yeah, that was traumatic. Well, fun question. If you can have one superpower.
Can we light this up a bit?
What a transition.
Fun question. If you can have one superpower, what would it be?
They have to be just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Because before bed at night, I always tell the kids, I always lie with the kids and tell them a story. And the story is always called the Magic Wall story, where they go to the back of their wardrobe, and I suppose it's a bit like Narnia. But it always starts with. That's the start. So whenever the kids hear me do that, they snuggle in because they know it always starts with that. And then I think, quick, think of something.
Yeah.
And then the door opens and there's a world out there. And we might go into the jungle, we might go into the desert, snow, whatever. No, not snow. No planes.
The desert.
So I love this idea. If that qualifies as a superpower, I love this idea of going with your imagination, being able to open a door into any world.
Yeah, you think about it, and
it happens.
Oh, that is.
I'm going to Hogwarts. If you woke up and discovered you had turned into Susie Wolff, what would you do?
Well, that would be a superpower, right?
Yeah,
I'd take that. Yeah. Susie Wolff, that's my superpower. Yeah. Change my answers to the previous question. Yeah. She's awesome.
You're stranded on an island. Which three
with
people?
Susie Wolff?
Oh.
Wait. Oh. Which three people in the F1 paddock would you have with you?
Hey.
Past or present? Can I have both?
Yeah, both.
Definitely Nicky Lauda.
Yes.
Just the funniest guy.
Yeah.
And I just love how honest he always was. Yeah. You want a straight answer? Get it from Nicky. He's brilliant fun. So I'd definitely go Nicky. I can't choose out of the team, out of the Sky F1 team, because there's some really great people on that team.
That would be spicy. They'd be you didn't choose me.
I know, right? Oh, God. Because I'd love settling in for the night with Martin Brundle, Damon Hill, Naomi Schiff. I mean, that would be a great little dinner party for me. But no, you can't. Genuinely, we're very lucky to be great mates with the people that you work with, because you're spending so much time together, right? So I haven't answered your question yet.
Just outside of Sky F1. There you go.
Okay,
make it easier.
Very diplomatic.
We're learning. We're very Canadian.
Yeah. So I do actually really miss Georgie Thompson, who's the girl that I started at Sky F1 with, because she was my best friend from school. Yeah. We grew up together. She was bridesmaid at my wedding.
Nice.
I really miss her, and we used to have such a laugh when we first started, because we didn't have responsibilities of kids or whatever. We just travelled around together. We had a great laugh, so it'd be good to get her there, good to have a giggle with her. And then, oh my God, this is so hard. I feel like I need to do people outside that have already left the sport. Because then you're not offending anyone in it. Because it's really, really hard.
You could put Lewis there. There'll be a massive search party then to come and get you.
So then I would get loads of extra people.
The whole world would come together. Coalition.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Lewis,
do I get everybody else then? Because they don't care about me coming for Lewis. That's fine with you. I'm down with that.
Come on.
All right, there we go. I just gave her one of mine. There we go. You're writing an autobiography on your life. Which of these titles best resonates with you? The Daredevil? Oh, I don't even want to say that one. The Dreamcatcher, the Free Spirit, or the Hardest Worker?
Well, I would take a little sliver of each of those because I used to be a real daredevil before I had kids. It's weird how that changes when you're a mom and you think, oh no, can't do that. I'm still in pursuit of a lot of dreams. Like I'm still constantly pushing my kids as well to go out of their comfort zone and try to be as brave as possible. Hard worker. I feel like I work hard at lots of different things. So the juggle is real, and I don't want any kind of violins for this because it's my choosing, but it is hard juggling motherhood with work.
Yeah.
And you always feel like you should be doing more for one or the other.
Yeah.
And charity work as well. Like that's what I get really fired up and passionate about, the Flaxstock, Home and Homes for Children. You know, you want to have a positive effect on other people's lives. And there's just not enough hours in the day for that. So could that be another superpower? Could I get more hours in the day?
Just for you, though.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
there we go.
I've got 3
No one else.
superpowers now. I knew I'd get there if I pushed hard enough.
Natalie time.
Natalie time.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be writing an autobiography anytime soon. I mean, don't rule it
Someone
out
might be writing one
altogether.
on you, though.
Well,
potentially. We never know.
Well, need to make my life a bit more interesting first. Stop it.
But here's the thing. You
Go
still
on.
have an incredible career ahead of you.
Yeah.
And
Hope so.
we really do appreciate you coming on, genuinely.
What a pleasure.
This has been a blast, and we're very excited. Hopefully we can catch you at a race sometime throughout the year.
Yep.
If you do come to Canada, by the way,
Yes.
and visit, your
So
cousin.
tell me the ones you're going to go to.
Well, we don't know yet. So, we're still waiting on a few
Manifest
teams.
it.
Yes.
Manifest it.
Say it and it will be.
Bahrain, Spain, Japan, Vegas, Canada, and I'm missing one, Henny. Brazil.
Brazil.
That's
Near the end.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to hit all parts of the world.
Yeah.
somehow.
Get a little flavour of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you. That's
thank you.
wicked.
And that's just the F1 ones.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Indy or
IMSA.
Endurance or anything. But
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Which should be good. But thank you very much. Hey, how you doing? Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching.
That's how.
That is the best way I could imagine.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
Follow Natalie on socials. Thank you again for coming on. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.